Welcome to another edition of Hidden Wealth, where we explore the fascinating world of numismatics beyond the ordinary collector's handbook. Today's episode might make you look twice at those pennies gathering dust in your drawer. We're diving into three remarkable Lincoln cents that might seem ordinary at first glance, but carry extraordinary stories and potential value. The 1993, 2002, and 2010 U.S. pennies might appear unremarkable, but certain variations of these modern coins have left collectors scrambling and auction houses buzzing. Whether you've been collecting for decades or just inherited a jar of coins from a relative, stay with me. You might discover you've been overlooking a small fortune hiding in plain sight. Let's begin our journey with the 2002 Lincoln cent, a coin that bridges the old and new millennia and carries a surprising legacy. At the turn of the century, the U.S. Mint was operating at full capacity, producing billions of pennies annually across its facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these pennies went into circulation without fanfare, becoming the workhorses of American commerce. But among these billions of seemingly identical coins, striking errors and die variations created treasures that continue to captivate the collector's market. The 2002 Lincoln cent was struck during a fascinating transitional period in American coinage. Minted just before the bicentennial celebrations of the Lewis and Clark expedition and the Louisiana Purchase, these cents continued to feature the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had adorned the penny since 1959. What many don't realize is that we were witnessing the sunset years of a design that had been in Americans' pockets for over 4 decades, a design that would soon give way to the shield reverse in 2010. The standard 2002 penny was struck on a planchet of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, continuing the composition change that began in 1982 when the mint moved away from solid copper due to rising metal costs. This composition gives most 2002 pennies their distinctive sound and feel, lighter and less resonant than their pre-1982 counterparts. However, what makes certain 2002 pennies remarkable are the errors that occurred during production. The most valuable 2002 penny variety is what collectors call the close AM version. This refers to the positioning of the letters A and M in America on the reverse of the coin. On standard pennies of this era, there should be a visible gap between these letters. However, due to a die that was actually intended for proof coins being accidentally used for circulation strikes, some 2002 pennies show these letters nearly touching. This seemingly minor detail can transform a 1-cent coin into one worth thousands. At a 2018 Heritage auction, a 2002 close AM penny graded MS 67RD by PCGS sold for an astonishing $18,800. Even examples in more modest conditions like MS 63 or MS 64 regularly command prices between $500 and $2,000. What makes this particularly exciting for casual collectors and non-collectors alike is that these valuable pennies entered general circulation, meaning one could theoretically still be found in your pocket change or penny jar. Another significant variety is the 2002 double die obverse. Double die errors occurred during the die manufacturing process when a misalignment creates a doubling effect on certain design elements. On the 2002 double die cents, this doubling is most noticeable in the letters of Liberty and in the date. Under magnification, collectors can see distinct separation in the lettering, creating a shadow-like effect. While not as valuable as the close AM variety, these double die errors can still fetch between $25 and $500 depending on condition and the prominence of the doubling. Speaking of condition, the state of preservation dramatically impacts a 2002 penny's value. The grading scale for modern coins runs from about good, a G3, for heavily worn specimens, to perfect mint state, MS 70, for flawless examples. For 2002 pennies, those graded MS 67 or higher with full original mint luster, designated by the notation RD for red, command the highest premiums. A standard 2002 penny without errors, but in pristine MS 67 RD condition, can still bring $100 to $200, representing a tremendous return on a 1-cent investment. Color plays a crucial role in determining a Lincoln cent's value. Copper-based coins naturally begin their life with a bright reddish-orange hue, designated RD by grading services. Over time, and with exposure to the environment, they progress to brown, designated BN. Coins in transitional states showing both colors are designated RB for red-brown. For 2002 pennies, maintaining that original mint red color significantly enhances value, a principle that holds true across most copper and copper-plated coins. One particularly intriguing story surrounding the 2002 penny involves what numismatists call mule errors, coins struck with dies not intended to be paired together. While extraordinarily rare, there have been rumors in collector circles about 2002 cents struck with an obverse from a different year or with experimental dies. Though most of these rumors remain unconfirmed, the hunt continues, and the possibility of discovering such a coin adds to the mystique surrounding this seemingly ordinary year of production. The mintage figures for 2002 reveal part of the story behind these coins' rarity. The Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 3.8 billion pennies, no mint mark, while Denver contributed another 3.5 billion, D-mint mark. San Francisco produced a much smaller number of proof specimens for collectors. With billions in circulation, what makes the error varieties so valuable is their extreme scarcity. Experts estimate that fewer than 20,000 close AM pennies may exist, representing less than 0.0005% of the total mintage. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of these modern rarities is their democratic nature. Unlike ancient coins or classic rarities that have been documented, cataloged, and largely discovered, many of these 2002 penny variations remain in circulation or in random accumulations waiting to be found. They represent perhaps the last frontier of numismatic treasure hunting, where significant discoveries can still be made by anyone with a keen eye and basic knowledge. Collectors interested in hunting for valuable 2002 pennies should arm themselves with a good magnifying glass, at least 5x magnification, and familiarize themselves with the distinctive characteristics of the close AM variety and double die errors. Examining the reverse of the coin under good lighting, focus on the letters AM in America. On the valuable close AM variety, these letters appear to almost touch at their bases. For double die errors, pay particular attention to the word Liberty and the date on the obverse, looking for clear separation or doubling in the lettering. It's worth noting that the 2002 penny holds a unique position in American coinage history for another reason. It was struck during a period when the mint was beginning to face challenges with the rising cost of metals, leading to discussions about potentially eliminating the penny altogether, a debate that continues to this day. This historical context adds another layer of significance to these coins beyond their error varieties. For authentication of a potentially valuable 2002 penny, professional grading is strongly recommended. Services like Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, provide certification that not only confirms authenticity, but also assigns a condition grade that significantly impacts value. While the grading fee might seem steep relative to the face value of a penny, it's a worthwhile investment for coins that could potentially be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. In the years since 2002, technological improvements in the minting process have made such errors increasingly rare, further enhancing the appeal of these turn-of-the-millennium varieties. Today's quality control measures make it far less likely that error dies would make it into production, creating a finite window of opportunity for these modern rarities that will never be replicated. The next piece of our numismatic puzzle takes us to the 2010 Lincoln cent, a coin that marks a pivotal moment in American coinage history and harbors its own remarkable secrets. The year 2010 ushered in a dramatic change for the humble penny, retiring the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had graced our cents for over half a century. In its place emerged the Union Shield design, symbolizing President Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single country. This transition alone makes every 2010 penny a historic artifact, but certain varieties have proven to be far more valuable than others. The story of the 2010 penny begins with the conclusion of the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Series, which featured 4 special reverse designs commemorating Lincoln's life. When these celebratory designs ended, the Mint introduced the Shield Reverse, the first complete redesign of the Lincoln cent since 1959. Designed by artist Lyndall Bass and sculpted by Joseph Minna, this new reverse features a Union shield with 13 vertical stripes representing the original states, topped by a banner inscribed with 1 cent and surrounded by United States of America. What many people don't realize is that this transition created a fertile ground for valuable minting errors and varieties. The most significant of these is the 2010 position ascent. During this transitional year, the Philadelphia Mint used two different die varieties for the reverse, with slightly different positions of the designer's initials. On the scarcer position A variety, the designer's initials are positioned differently compared to the more common version. This seemingly minor detail can increase the value of an otherwise ordinary cent by hundreds of dollars. Even more valuable are the 2010 double die pennies. Several different double die varieties exist for this year, with doubling visible in Lincoln's ear, the date, and various lettering on both obverse and reverse. Under magnification, this doubling appears as a distinct separation or shadow of the affected design elements. The most dramatic examples, particularly those showing prominent doubling around Lincoln's ear, have sold for $3,000 to $5,000 in top mint state grades. The 2010 penny also saw several spectacular minting errors that created individual rarities worth far more than their face value. Off-center strikes, where the coin blank wasn't properly centered during striking, can range from minor misalignments to dramatic examples where only half the design appears. While minor off-centers might bring $5 to $10, dramatic examples with 50% or more off-center but with a complete date showing have fetched $100 to $200 at auction. Perhaps the most valuable 2010 penny error is the wrong planchet strike. In extremely rare instances, Lincoln cents have been struck on planchets intended for other denominations. A 2010 cent struck on a dime planchet sold at a Stack's Bowers auction for $1,380 in 2013, despite showing wear from circulation. Even more remarkable was a 2010 penny struck on a silver dime planchet that appeared in a heritage auction with an estimated value exceeding $10,000. Another fascinating aspect of the 2010 penny is its composition. Though it maintains the same 97.5% zinc core with copper plating used since 1982, many collectors don't realize that the Mint conducted extensive testing of alternative compositions during this period. The Coin Modernization, Oversight, and Continuity Act of 2010 authorized research into less expensive metals for all U.S. coinage. While these experimental compositions weren't used for circulation strikes, rumors of test pieces occasionally surface in collector circles, creating an ongoing treasure hunt. The mintage figures for 2010 tell an interesting story as well. Philadelphia produced approximately 2.5 billion pennies, while Denver contributed another 2 billion. This represents a significant decrease from previous years, reflecting both economic conditions following the 2008 financial crisis and changing patterns in cash usage. The relatively lower mintage contributes to the scarcity of certain varieties, particularly those from the early production runs featuring the new shield design. When examining condition-based values, the premium for pristine examples becomes evident. A standard 2010 penny in average circulated condition remains worth just 1 cent. However, at the upper echelons of preservation, the story changes dramatically. A perfect MS 70RD example can bring $100 to $200, with major error varieties commanding significantly more. The first-year status of the shield design creates additional collector interest in flawless examples, driving prices higher than for many other modern cents. What makes hunting for valuable 2010 pennies particularly appealing is that they're recent enough that many remain in extraordinarily high grades. Unlike vintage coins that faced decades of handling and storage in less than ideal conditions, many 2010 pennies went directly from mint bags into collector hands or sat undisturbed in bank vaults. This creates opportunities to find gem-quality examples even years after their production. One collector in Texas reported an extraordinary find in 2016. While searching through bank-wrapped rolls of pennies, he discovered a 2010 double die obverse showing significant doubling in Lincoln's ear. After professional grading confirmed it as one of the more dramatic double die varieties in MS 64RD condition, The coin sold to a specialist dealer for $2,700. Such discoveries continue to fuel interest in searching through modern coinage. Authentication remains crucial for 2010 penny varieties, particularly for the more valuable errors. Professional grading services have compiled extensive catalogs of known die varieties and can distinguish genuine double dies from machine doubling or damage. The investment in professional certification can make the difference between a confirmed rarity worth thousands and an interesting but common coin worth face value. For collectors specifically hunting 2010 penny varieties, examining bank-wrapped rolls provides the best opportunity for discoveries. Focus particularly on the early year mintage, as these were produced during the transitional period when new dies and designs were being implemented. Using at least 10x magnification, pay special attention to Lincoln's ear, the date, and the designer's initials on the reverse. The historical significance of the 2010 penny extends beyond its numismatic value. This redesign came during a period of intense debate about the penny's continued relevance in American commerce. With production costs exceeding face value and changing consumer habits reducing cash transactions, many economists and politicians had called for the denomination's elimination. The 2010 redesign represented both a modernization and a reaffirmation of the penny's cultural importance in American life. Another fascinating aspect of the 2010 penny story involves metallurgical challenges. The zinc core with copper plating creates unique issues for long-term preservation, as any breach in the thin copper layer can lead to accelerated deterioration of the zinc beneath. This has led some specialists to predict that well-preserved 2010 pennies may become increasingly scarce as the decades pass, potentially enhancing their future collectible value. The 2010 Lincoln cent also connects to broader themes in American history through its symbolism. The shield design harkens back to Civil War-era 2-cent pieces that featured a similar shield motif, creating a visual link between Lincoln's presidency and the coinage of his era. This historical resonance adds another dimension of interest for collectors who appreciate the storytelling aspect of numismatics. Moving now to our third featured coin, the 1993 Lincoln cent might seem like an unlikely candidate for numismatic significance. Produced during a period often overlooked by collectors focused on earlier rarities or more recent issues, these pennies have emerged as surprising treasures in contemporary numismatics. The early 1990s represented a period of stability in American coinage, but even in such seemingly ordinary production years, extraordinary varieties can emerge. The 1993 Lincoln cent stands as a testament to the idea that numismatic treasures can emerge from the most unexpected places. The early 1990s was a period of relative stability for U.S. coinage. No major design changes or composition adjustments were implemented, and mintage figures remained robust across all denominations. For many collectors, these years represented a numismatic dead zone, lacking the historical significance of earlier issues or the novelty of more recent designs. Yet buried within this overlooked era lies a penny with stories and varieties that have captured the attention of serious collectors. The year 1993 saw substantial penny production across both major mints. Philadelphia produced approximately 5.6 billion cents without a mint mark, while Denver contributed another 6.5 billion with the D mint mark. This massive combined output of over 12 billion pennies flooded into circulation during an era when cash transactions still dominated American commerce. The scale of this production created ample opportunity for striking errors and die varieties to occur. Perhaps the most remarkable variety from this year is the 1993 double die obverse. Like other double die errors we've discussed, this occurs when the hub imparts its image onto a die multiple times with slight misalignment. On the 1993 double die cent, this doubling is most prominent in the letters of Liberty and in the date, particularly in the digits 93. Under magnification of at least 5x, this doubling appears as a distinct separation or shadow-like effect on these elements. What makes the 1993 double die particularly intriguing is its relative obscurity compared to more famous double die cents like the 1955 or 1969 S varieties. While those earlier errors have been extensively documented and hunted for decades, the 1993 version flew under the radar for years. It wasn't until the early 2000s that specialists began to recognize and catalog these varieties, creating a situation where many examples likely remain unidentified in collections and circulation. At a 2017 Heritage auction, a 1993 double-die cent graded MS 67RD by PCGS sold for an impressive $3,290, a remarkable return on a 1-cent investment. Even examples in more moderate mint state grades can command $200 to $500 when properly attributed and certified. The potential for discovering these overlooked treasures makes searching through 1993 pennies particularly rewarding for contemporary collectors. Another significant variety from this year is the 1993 D close AM, since similar to the 2002 variety we discussed earlier. This refers to the positioning of the letters A and M in America on the reverse. In the scarce close AM variety, these letters appear to nearly touch at their bases. What makes this particularly interesting is that it represents a mismatch of dies. The close AM reverse was intended for proof coins struck at San Francisco, but somehow made its way into regular production at the Denver Mint. These 1993 D close AM cents have become legendary in modern numismatics, with top examples regularly selling for $2,500 to $5,000 at auction. In 2012, a particularly outstanding specimen graded MS 68RD by PCGS established a record when it sold for $14,100. Given that billions of 1993 D cents were produced, the extreme rarity of this variety suggests that only a tiny fraction, perhaps just a few thousand, exist with this particular die pairing. Beyond these major varieties, the 1993 cent offers a fascinating study in striking quality and copper plating variations. By 1993, the Mint had been producing zinc-core, copper-plated cents for over a decade, and the technology had been refined but not perfected. Variations in plating thickness can be observed throughout the 1993 mintage, creating subtle differences in appearance and potentially in long-term preservation characteristics. One particularly unusual error type occasionally found among 1993 cents is the unplated or incomplete plating variety. In these error coins, portions of the zinc core remain exposed due to incomplete copper plating during manufacture. While most such errors show only small areas of missing plating, examples with significant unplated areas can bring $50 to $100 depending on the extent and pattern of the missing copper layer. The historical context of the 1993 penny adds another dimension to its collectability. Struck during the first year of President Clinton's administration, these cents circulated during a period of significant economic transition in America. The early 1990s saw the country emerging from recession and beginning the technological boom that would define the decade. These pennies witnessed the dawn of the internet age and the last era when cash remained the dominant form of everyday transactions. From a condition standpoint, 1993 pennies present an interesting case study in preservation. Nearly 3 decades of potential circulation have taken their toll on most examples, with truly pristine specimens becoming increasingly scarce. The zinc core presents particular challenges for long-term preservation, as any breach in the copper plating can lead to accelerated deterioration of the underlying metal. Collectors often note that cents from this era show more significant condition issues than their older, solid copper counterparts. For those hunting valuable 1993 pennies, focusing on mint-state examples from original bank-wrapped rolls offers the best opportunity. When examining potential double-die varieties, use strong lighting and at least 5x magnification, paying particular attention to the word Liberty and the date. For the 1993 D close AM variety, carefully examine the letters A and M in America on the reverse, comparing their spacing to known examples if possible. A particularly intriguing story surrounding 1993 pennies involves uncirculated rolls that remain sealed in original mint packaging. In 2010, a bank in Ohio discovered several unopened boxes of 1993 pennies during a vault inventory. These pristine rolls, untouched for 17 years, yielded several double-die varieties and other premium examples that collectively sold for over $12,000, an extraordinary return on the $50 face value of the coins. The metallurgical composition of 1993 cents also tells an interesting story about American manufacturing and resource utilization. By weight, these pennies consist of 97.5% zinc and just 2.5% copper, a dramatic reversal from the 95% copper composition used before 1982. This change was driven by rising copper prices that had made the earlier composition worth more as metal than as currency. The 1993 cents thus represent an interesting economic compromise. Coins that look like traditional copper currency but contain only a fraction of that increasingly valuable metal. Expert authentication remains critical for 1993 penny varieties, particularly for the valuable double die and close AM variations. The subtlety of these varieties makes them challenging to identify with certainty, and numerous similar but less valuable varieties exist that can be confused with the premium errors. Professional certification from PCGS or NGC provides both authentication and grading, establishing a coin's place within the condition census for its variety. For the dedicated variety hunter, 1993 cents can be a rewarding focus due to the ongoing discovery aspect. Unlike many famous coin rarities that have been thoroughly documented for decades, new die varieties and error types from 1993 continue to be identified and cataloged. This creates the potential for collectors to make genuine contributions to numismatic knowledge while potentially discovering valuable treasures. So before you dismiss that jar of pennies as mere pocket change, remember the extraordinary possibilities that might be hiding in plain sight. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or simply curious about the coins passing through your hands, the humble Lincoln cent continues to offer surprises, stories, and potential treasures for those willing to look closely. Happy hunting!